Hello, world. I'm Chris Pirillo. I'm not a Muppet. I'm a very manly Muppet. No, a Muppet of a man. I'm a Muppet of a man. You've tuned into another live edition of the Locker Room Daily Report, or TLDR for short. It's usually about an hour long, powered by my patrons. You can become a patron and get all of TLDR by heading over to chrispirillo.com. If you become a patron, you got to go there, chrispirillo.com. You click the link. I'm sure there's a link somewhere you click on in the description that everybody seems to ignore. Today's topic is about Muppets. There's a new Muppet show, not to be confused with The Muppet Show. It's just The Muppets. And it's now about 11 episodes into the first season, but it's already had a reboot, even though The Muppets, this show, was kind of a reboot of sorts. It had not been received very well by anybody. But I'm very glad to say that they've changed it somewhat, and at least in the first new episode of the first season, after they've had a break, it seems to be veering on course rather than veering off course, without necessarily eliminating the 10 episodes that had been released prior. So I watched it last night, and want to give you my reactions to it. Unfortunately, I can't give you my reactions as I'm watching it, necessarily, because I'm not cleared to rebroadcast anything on television that they put out there. So, my reactions. After I'm done with that, I'll be showing you today's Pirillo picks. After that, then I'm going to be answering questions from the community. And then, after that, I'm going to be doing, tech news views, talking about tech news and geek news with the patrons. Again, you can become a patron by heading over to chrispirillo.com. I was reminded, and I had totally forgotten about this, that I do have a friend.
Hello, I'm Chris Pirillo. You've tuned in to another live edition of the Locker Room Daily Report, or TLDR for short. It's your daily dose of Chris Pirillo. It's usually about an hour long. I'm sideways. This is the real me. I'm a Muppet of a man, or a very manly Muppet. Huh? I stayed in too long. That's why it's cold. That's why I'm blue. What? What? Huh? Oh, but yeah, I gotta start the video now. Okay?
I changed my clothes really quickly. There. Totally forgot I had a Muppet of me that I made. I made a Muppet of me. I've always liked the Muppets. Honestly, I wouldn't say that I'm it's a part of my fandom, but I grew up with Sesame Street, as many people did in my generation. Sesame Street's still around. I'm happy to say. I had the little figures, and I never had the Sesame Street Weebles, though. I guess they made those. I used to love Weebles. In seeing that there was going to be a new Muppet show, not to be confused with The Muppet Show, The Muppets intrigued me, and I really enjoyed the first few episodes. I did, and I think I may have missed a few accidentally. It got kind of busy for me, and even though I was recording the new episodes, and I can probably go back and watch them, there was nothing that was really, pulling me back in and making me feel like I wanted to be a completist of sorts. So I enjoyed it. And knowing that many people didn't, kind of had me curious. I'm like, really? They didn't like it? What? They didn't really like it because there was a lot of infighting. There was a different kind of energy between the characters that we've known and loved. If last night's episode 11 of the first season, was indicative of where they're going to go into the future, a more unified Muppets, I'll likely continue to enjoy the show. And it's really something that reminds me a lot of The Muppet Show. This is a reaction I had when I was younger. A lot of the humor would have likely been lost on me if I was a kid. And a lot of the humor in The Muppet Show was lost on me as well, because I was younger. A lot of the jokes just went right over my head. But I would say that my reaction to the Muppets has generally, to this point, been positive. In this pivot, this mid-season pivot, was very smart of them to do. I enjoyed it. I mean, I laughed out loud. I was laughing. That's a good show. I mean, I think they've done an amazing job in general with the Muppets. I don't think they could have done it any differently. So I reacted positively. I was reminded a lot of the Muppet Show, the way they did episode 11 specifically. The way the Muppet Show was done back in the day. It was like like vaudeville. It was like a variety show where you'd have different things happen on stage, and it was a staged production. This is effectively where they may be going with the Muppets, if only to kind of give that the experience of the Muppet Show in modern times. I guess I suspend disbelief when I watched the Muppets and found myself just enjoying it. And if that's a reaction, then that's a reaction. I felt it was positive. I enjoyed it. I laughed. I had a good time. If you can't have a good time with the Muppets, you're doing it wrong, man. I appreciated the adult humor, rather adult humor in the first few episodes of the Muppets, but I'm an adult, and I could see where it could be a turnoff to some people who feel that it was too adult. I guess it didn't bother me so much. I felt like I was seeing another side of the Muppets. So I'm happy with the pivot. I was happy enough with the Muppets before then, was likely going to watch them. We will likely continue to be a Muppet-esque family. I still have a Muppet. My favorite Muppet, Yoda. Well, what was it? I've been around, but I ain't ever seen a guy who looks like a Muppet, but he's wrinkled and green. Well, wasn't Yoda a Muppet? Well, I guess he really wasn't a Muppet. Officially a Muppet. There needs to be a Yoda Muppet, though. Like a Muppetized version of Yoda. That'd be kind of neat. Which, you could probably look back on the puppet of Yoda in episode 1, the one that was first released before they went back and made him CGI. He was kind of Muppet-esque. Very, very Muppety. Not terribly cartoony, though, but Jedi will be growing up with Sesame Street. I will continue to watch the Muppets. I've enjoyed it. So those, I know that my 3 reactions have been packed in there. I enjoyed it. I laughed. I didn't have a problem with the show before the pivot, but I don't mind where it's headed now. And it reminded me a lot of the Muppet Show when I was growing up. Yoda is a friend of the Muppets, I've been told. Okay. All right, he's a friend of the Muppets. Yeah. I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like a Muppetized version of Yoda. Put ears on Kermit. That's Yoda. I remember one of my favorite Muppet shows ever, not to be confused with The Muppet Show, Muppet Babies. I grew up with Muppet Babies. Muppet Babies will make our dreams come true. When your room looks kind of weird and you wish that you weren't there. See, I could play those old episodes for Jedi, and I'm sure she'd love them. I remember the Star Wars episode. In fact, I used to like Muppet Babies because the TIE Fighter was a part of the introduction to the cartoon. So I reacted generally positively. Genuinely. And I know I'm not the only one who did. So, how did you react? Are you a Muppets fan? Even as an adult, it's okay. I don't really even have any Muppets memorabilia or merchandise. I think I was told today was Elmo's birthday as well. I didn't grow up with Elmo. Elmo was not my Muppet, per se. I don't know if I ever had a Muppet. I like Rolf. He was kind of cool. Scooter's needy. He's neatish. So many good Muppets. Good show. If you have not watched the Muppets, give it a shot. If you were turned off by its format in the first 10 episodes, come back. Episode 11 is a pivot, and it's worth paying attention to again. I enjoy it. I like Muppet. Muppet is now it's in my routine. Muppets. I have to catch up on the episodes that I know I missed. I will do that. I will. But right now, I'm going to move on to today's Pirillo picks. You can tune in for that. I've got a few things. And then we're going to be answering questions, likely tech questions from the community of patrons. And then after that, I'm going to be covering today's tech news and some geek news as well. Again, with the patrons, courtesy of ChrisPirillo.com. Today's free podcast highlight was brought to you by all of my active patrons from ChrisPirillo.com. If you want access to the full TLDR episodes, both audio, video, past, present, and future, which can be up to an hour long or longer, with even more tech insight from me every weekday, plus other bonus content without ads, and supporting me at the same time, You can sign up to become one of my supernomies too. This is just a brief taste of what I'm producing for you daily. Again, get more through chrispirillo.com. Hello world, I'm Chris Pirillo. You're tuned in to another live... I started to think of the Muppets lyrics. It's time to start the music. It's time to light the lights. It's time to get things started on the Muppet Show tonight. Isn't that how it goes? Can I try the introduction again? Great.